As winter's icy grip reluctantly releases Yellowstone, the land stirs with a slow, almost reluctant awakening. The snow, once a seamless white shroud, fractures into islands of slush and crystal, revealing the battered earth beneath. Each patch of exposed ground is a testament to the season's harshness, and the air, heavy with the scent of thawing soil, carries the promise of renewal. The sun, now climbing with greater confidence, sends shimmering ribbons of meltwater snaking through the meadows. These streams carve new paths through the mud, their gentle trickle a subtle overture to the symphony of spring. The air, once brittle and silent, now hums with the faint calls of distant ravens and the soft rustle of awakening grasses. Amidst this transformation, a solitary figure emerges, a grizzly bear, its massive frame moving with deliberate, almost ponderous grace. The bear's fur, matted from months of torpor, glistens with the moisture of the thaw, and each step leaves a deep impression in the softened earth. Driven by hunger, sharpened by a long winter's sleep, the bear lifts its head, nostrils flaring. It samples the shifting breeze, sifting through a tapestry of scents. Damp moss, decaying leaves, the faint musk of distant elk. But one aroma stands out, rich and unmistakable, drawing the bear forward with single-minded focus. Guided by instinct and an extraordinary sense of smell, the grizzly approaches a pond, its surface fractured by retreating ice. The bear pauses, surveying the scene with small, intelligent eyes, every muscle tensed in anticipation. There, half submerged in the frigid water, lies the source of the scent, a bull bison, its massive form preserved by the cold. The carcass is a somber monument to winter's cruelty, its fur slick with meltwater, its bulk a stark contrast to the delicate new shoots pushing through the mud. The bison's fate was sealed by a miscalculation. Venturing onto treacherous ice in search of forage, it broke through, succumbing to the elements. Now, its body is both a relic of the past season and a beacon for those who endure. The grizzly wastes no time. With powerful jaws and claws, it tears into the preserved flesh, each bite a vital infusion of fat and protein. The bear's movements are methodical, first stripping away the hide, then seeking the richest organs, its muzzle stained dark with the effort. Months of hibernation have left the bear gaunt, its ribs faintly visible beneath the thick fur. Every mouthful is precious, fueling the slow rebuilding of muscle and reserves needed for the challenges ahead. The bear eats with a focused intensity, pausing only to scan the horizon. Each swallow is a step toward recovery, a reclamation of strength lost to the long, dark winter. Sated for the moment, the grizzly seizes the carcass in its jaws, muscles rippling beneath its coat. With slow, determined effort, it drags the immense prize away from the open water, leaving deep furrows in the mud. The bear pauses, head raised, eyes scanning the open landscape. Every sense is alert to the presence of other predators or scavengers, for in Yellowstone no meal goes unnoticed for long. On a distant rise, a cluster of coyotes materializes, their forms barely visible against the patchwork of snow and grass. They watch in silence, ears pricked, their bodies tense with anticipation and caution. The grizzly resumes its labor, hauling the carcass toward a patch of tall grass. Each movement is calculated, the bear's mind balancing hunger with the need for security. With practiced skill, the bear begins to cache its prize, using powerful forelimbs to heap grass and soil over the remains. This behavior is both instinctive and essential, concealing the meal from prying eyes and slowing the inevitable decay in the cool, moist air. The coyotes, emboldened by hunger, break their silence with a chorus of yips and howls. Their voices echo across the valley, a mixture of frustration and hope as they weigh the risks of approaching. Yet instinct restrains them. The grizzly's dominance is absolute, its size and power a clear warning. The coyotes linger at the margins, eyes fixed on the bear, their bodies poised for flight at the slightest provocation. They settle into a patient vigil, waiting for the moment when the bear's hunger is sated or its attention wavers. For now, they are shadows at the edge of the feast, biding their time. The grizzly, ever watchful, lifts its head periodically, nostrils twitching, eyes sharp. It is a creature forged by necessity, acutely aware that every meal is both a blessing and a challenge. As the day wanes, the bear settles beside its cache, body curled protectively around the carcass. The snow continues to recede, and the landscape breathes with the slow pulse of spring. In this tableau, bear, bison, and the ever-watchful scavengers, the raw drama of Yellowstone is revealed. Here, survival is a delicate balance, and every life is woven into the fate of another, in a world untouched by human hands. In the endless sweep of Yellowstone's wild heart, a timeless confrontation is set in motion, one that has played out for millennia, far from the eyes of humankind. Here, the land is shaped by wind and weather, the air crisp and biting, the ground still patched with snow from a long, unforgiving winter. The silence is broken only by the distant calls of ravens and the low rumble of hooves. A pack of wolves, their coats thick and mottled with the dust of the season, moves as a single, fluid entity across the open plains. Each wolf is lean, hunger sharpening their senses and lending urgency to every step. Their eyes scan the horizon, nostrils flaring as they catch the scent of their quarry on the cold wind. Ahead, the bison herd grazes in a loose formation, their massive bodies shifting like a living fortress. The adults, towering and broad-shouldered, form the outer wall, their curved horns glinting in the pale sunlight. Calves, still unsteady on their legs, cluster near their mothers, protected by the sheer bulk and vigilance of the herd. The wolves pause, assessing their formidable adversaries. A healthy adult bison is a daunting prospect. Its size, strength, and unpredictable power make a direct attack a gamble with deadly consequences. The wolves know this well. Their survival depends on patience and calculation, not reckless bravado. They fan out, melting into the shadows at the edge of the herd. Every movement is deliberate, every step measured. The wolves communicate with subtle glances and flicks of their tails, coordinating their positions without a sound. They wait, watching for the smallest sign of weakness, a limp, a moment's distraction, a calf that lags behind. Their attention settles on the calves, born just weeks before. These young bison, though protected, are still learning the ways of the wild. Their curiosity sometimes draws them away from the safety of the herd, and it is this vulnerability the wolves seek to exploit. The hunt begins with a slow, circling advance. The wolves move like a grey current, flowing around the herd's perimeter, probing for a gap in the living wall. Their bodies are low, muscles coiled, every sense attuned to the shifting dynamics of the herd. They test the herd's defenses, darting forward and then retreating, gauging the reactions of the adults. A calf, momentarily distracted by a fluttering bird, drifts a few paces from its mother. Instantly, the wolves' focus sharpens, their bodies tensing in anticipation. For the wolves, a single calf represents a lifeline. If they succeed, the meat will sustain not only the adults, but also the new generation of pups waiting in a distant den. The stakes are high, and every member of the pack knows their role in the unfolding drama. With a series of coordinated feints, the wolves create confusion at the herd's edge. Dust rises as hooves pound the earth. In the chaos, a small calf is separated, its plaintive calls lost in the thunder of the herd's retreat. The wolves close in, their formation tightening. The air is thick with tension, every heartbeat echoing the urgency of the moment. The calf, wide-eyed and trembling, stands alone as the predators encircle it, their movements precise and silent. The standoff is electric. Predator and prey locked in a moment that will decide the fate of both. The wolves edge closer, muscles rippling beneath their fur, jaws parted in anticipation. But the bison are not mere spectators to this drama. Sensing the danger, the adults turn, their eyes blazing with protective fury. The herd's energy shifts from flight to defense in an instant. As the wolves press their advantage, the herd erupts into action. Bison bellow and stamp, the ground trembling beneath their combined weight. The wolves hesitate, calculating the risk as the herd's agitation grows. The calf's mother, her instincts honed by seasons of survival, charges with her head lowered, horns aimed at the nearest wolf. Her courage is contagious, and other cows join her, forming a living shield around the vulnerable calf. In a surge of collective will, the herd wheels as one, a wall of muscle and horn thundering back toward the predators. Dust billows, obscuring the scene in a haze of movement and sound. The bison form a tight circle, calves pressed to the center, adults presenting a bristling barricade of horns and massive bodies. The wolves, faced with this impenetrable defense, are forced to halt their advance. The unity of the herd is a testament to their survival strategy. Each bison stands shoulder to shoulder, their combined strength a force that even the most determined predators cannot overcome. The wolves, recognizing the futility of further attack, retreat with measured steps. Their eyes linger on the herd, but the opportunity has passed. Exhausted and empty-bellied, the pack slips away, their forms soon swallowed by the vastness of Yellowstone's wild terrain. The hunt is over, but the struggle for survival continues. The calf, shaken but unharmed, is quickly enveloped by its mother's reassuring presence. The herd closes ranks, their vigilance undiminished, their bond reaffirmed by the trial they have just endured. This encounter is but one chapter in the ongoing saga of Yellowstone, where predator and prey are locked in a delicate, ever-shifting balance. Each day brings new challenges, new tests of strength, strategy, and resilience. For the bison calves, the dangers are many. Nearly a quarter will not survive their first weeks, claimed by predators, harsh weather, or misfortune. Yet those that do will grow strong, shaped by the relentless trials of this wild land. For the wolves, the failed hunt is a harsh lesson. Hunger will drive them onward, across valleys and ridges, always searching, always adapting. In Yellowstone, survival is never guaranteed, and every day is a test of nature's most ancient laws. As the grip of winter loosens its hold, Yellowstone's rivers awaken beneath a patchwork of melting ice and snow. The landscape is raw and untamed, the water running swift and cold, carving channels through the last remnants of frost. Beneath the translucent ceiling of thinning ice, river otters move with effortless grace. Their bodies, streamlined and muscular, are perfectly adapted for this frigid, ever-shifting world. They slip silently through the water, undeterred by the biting cold, their movements a blend of playfulness and precision. Each otter's fur is a masterpiece of evolution, thick, oily, and layered. The outer guard hairs repel water, while the dense underfur traps a vital layer of insulating air, creating a barrier against the near-freezing temperatures. This ingenious adaptation allows them to thrive where few mammals dare to venture. In this submerged world, otters are relentless hunters. They can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes, twisting and spiraling through the icy depths in pursuit of fish. Their webbed feet and powerful tails propel them with astonishing speed, while their flexible spines allow for acrobatic maneuvers as they close in on their quarry. Survival in this environment demands constant energy. Each otter must consume at least 1 kilogram of fish daily, fueling their high metabolism and maintaining their core temperature. The hunt is ceaseless, a daily test of skill and endurance against the elements. Otters rely on their sensitive whiskers, vibrissae, to detect the faintest vibrations in the water. These specialized hairs pick up the subtle movements of fish beneath the ice, guiding the otter through the murky, dimly lit underworld, where sight alone is not enough. When prey is detected, the otter explodes into action, accelerating with a burst of energy. Its pursuit is a display of agility and focus, every muscle working in harmony to outmaneuver the darting fish. Once a fish is caught, the otter surfaces, jaws clamped firmly around its prize. The transition from water to air is swift. the otter's eyes scanning for threats even as it prepares to eat. The otter often drags its catch onto a slab of ice or the muddy riverbank, using these natural platforms as makeshift tables. Here, it deftly manipulates the fish with nimble paws, stripping flesh from bone with practiced efficiency. Yet this moment of nourishment is fraught with danger. The open air exposes the otter to new threats, and instinct keeps it alert. Overhead, a shadow glides silently across the ice, a harbinger of competition. Perched high in the bare branches of a cottonwood, a bald eagle surveys the river below. Its keen eyes miss nothing, scanning for the slightest movement along the fractured ice and open water. The eagle, a formidable hunter in its own right, is temporarily thwarted by the lingering ice. The frozen surface denies it direct access to the fish below, forcing it to bide its time and adapt its tactics. In these lean times, the eagle turns to piracy. It watches the otters with unwavering focus, waiting for the perfect moment to exploit their hard-earned success. The otters, oblivious to the eagle's intent, continue their hunt. But the eagle has learned to let others do the difficult work, conserving its own energy for the critical moment. With vision 8 times sharper than a human's, the eagle tracks every movement. It waits, patient and calculating, for an otter to surface with a fresh catch. When the opportunity arises, the eagle launches from its perch, wings slicing through the cold air. It descends with controlled power, talons extended, targeting the distracted otter below. The eagle's approach is swift and intimidating. Its goal is not to injure, but to startle, to force the otter to abandon its meal in the face of overwhelming aerial dominance. The otter, startled by the sudden rush of wind and the looming shadow, must make a split-second decision. Out of the water, it is vulnerable, and the risk of injury is high. Often, the otter chooses safety over sustenance, slipping back into the water and leaving its hard-won catch behind. The eagle claims the prize, a testament to its opportunistic prowess. This daily contest is a vivid display of adaptation and survival. Otter and eagle, each a master of its domain, are locked in a silent, ongoing rivalry shaped by the harsh realities of Yellowstone's spring. Here, every meal is hard-fought, and every encounter a reminder of the delicate balance between predator and competitor in the wild. In the heart of Yellowstone, beavers stand as the park's most tireless architects, their lives defined by a relentless drive to reshape the wild landscape for survival. Each dawn, the beaver family emerges from their lodge, their thick fur glistening with droplets as they slip silently into the water. The air is crisp, scented with willow and aspen, and the only sounds are the gentle lapping of water and the rhythmic gnawing of teeth on wood. Along Yellowstone's winding streams, these industrious mammals orchestrate transformation. With powerful jaws and dexterous forepaws, they fell slender trees and drag branches through the current, weaving them into a latticework that halts the flow of water. What begins as a trickle soon swells into a deep reflective pond, bordered by lush grasses and the trembling leaves of young aspens. Every stick, every clump of mud, is placed with purpose. The dam is not a monument, but a lifeline, an evolving barrier that must withstand the ceaseless push of water and the unpredictability of the wild. At the heart of the pond, the beaver lodge rises, a dome of interwoven branches and mud, its entrance hidden beneath the water's surface. This submerged doorway is a masterstroke of natural engineering, denying entry to prowling wolves and curious bears, and offering sanctuary to the beaver family within. Beneath the surface, the beavers maintain a secret cache, a winter larder of aspen and willow branches anchored in the cold mud. As the seasons turn and snow blankets the land, this underwater pantry becomes their sole source of nourishment, sustaining them through the long frozen months when the world above lies silent and still. The dam itself is a marvel, sometimes stretching across the stream for meters, its base a dense tangle of logs and stones layered with mud and aquatic plants. Each addition strengthens the barrier, allowing the pond to deepen and expand, creating a haven not just for beavers, but for countless other creatures. The structure is a living tapestry, constantly maintained and reinforced. Beavers patrol its length, searching for leaks, packing gaps with fresh mud, and adjusting the flow to keep the water level just right. Their efforts ripple outward, shaping the entire ecosystem, slowing erosion, nurturing wetlands, and providing refuge for amphibians, fish, and waterfowl. Yet, the beaver's world is one of constant challenge. As winter loosens its grip, the first warm winds of spring send torrents of meltwater rushing down from the mountains. The tranquil pond becomes a battleground, the dam straining under the sudden weight of surging water. The current pounds against the dam, searching for weakness. A single breach can unleash disaster, sending icy water pouring through the gap and threatening to sweep away months of labor in a matter of moments. Inside the lodge, the youngest beavers, soft-furred kits born just weeks before, huddle together as water seeps in. The adults respond with urgency, ferrying mud and sticks in a frantic effort to stem the flow, their bodies slick with effort, their instincts honed by generations of survival. The family works in unison, each member playing a role. The rising water threatens not only their home, but the delicate balance of life in the pond. Frogs leap for higher ground, muskrats dart for cover, and the air is thick with tension as the beavers race to restore order. With every trip, the gap narrows. Mud is packed, sticks wedged tight, and slowly the breach is sealed. The pond calms, the lodge is saved, and the beaver kits are safe once more, at least for now. As dusk falls, the exhausted family surveys their work. The threat has passed, but the memory lingers, a reminder that in Yellowstone, security is always temporary, and vigilance is the price of survival. The weather, ever unpredictable, brings new trials. Dark clouds gather, winds shift, and the pond's surface mirrors the turmoil above. The beavers sense the change, their movements cautious, their senses attuned to every subtle shift in the environment. As the seasons turn, the threat of flood gives way to drought. The once brimming pond shrinks, its edges cracked and dry, the waterline receding to reveal mudflats and exposed roots. The lodge, once hidden beneath the safety of deep water, now stands exposed. The entrance, vulnerable to prowling predators, is no longer a secret. The beaver family faces a new dilemma: how to protect their young when the water that shields them has all but vanished. In the face of danger, the mother beaver makes a fateful choice. She gathers her kits, nudging them gently into the shallows, and leads them downstream in search of a safer refuge. The journey is perilous, the path uncertain, but the instinct to protect her young is unwavering. The family moves cautiously, their small bodies vulnerable in the open. Every rustle in the grass, every shadow on the water is a potential threat. The world beyond the pond is filled with unseen dangers, and the beavers must rely on their wits and each other to survive. Overhead, a bald eagle circles, its keen eyes searching for movement below. Along the riverbank, a coyote waits, ears pricked, nose twitching at the scent of opportunity. The beaver kits, slow and untested, are easy targets in the harsh light of day. The mother beaver is ever watchful, her senses sharpened by necessity. She pauses often, scanning the sky and the tangled undergrowth, ready to sound the alarm at the first sign of danger. Her vigilance is the family's shield, her courage their hope. In Yellowstone, the beaver's struggle is never-ending. Each season brings new challenges: floods that threaten to wash away their world, droughts that leave them exposed and vulnerable. Yet through every hardship, the beaver endures, adapting, rebuilding, and shaping the land in ways that echo through the entire ecosystem. Their burden is immense, but their resilience is the quiet force that sustains life in these wild, untamed waters. In the heart of Yellowstone, winter transforms the landscape into a vast, silent expanse of white. For the red fox, this season is both a test and a showcase of its remarkable adaptability. The snow lies deep and unbroken, muffling sound and concealing the world beneath, but for the fox, every drift and hollow holds the promise of a meal. Beneath this frozen surface, small rodents like voles and mice remain active, carving intricate networks of tunnels. These creatures rarely break the surface, instead living in a hidden labyrinth, insulated from the biting cold above. The fox, with its keen senses, is perfectly equipped for this challenge. Its large triangular ears swivel independently, scanning for the faintest sounds. Tiny feet scurrying, a muffled squeak, or the subtle shifting of snow as a vole moves below. With patience honed by necessity, the fox stands utterly still, its body tense and focused. Every muscle is poised, its head cocked to one side, as it filters out the ambient hush of winter to isolate the telltale sounds of life beneath the snow. When the moment is right, the fox explodes into action. It launches itself high into the air, arching gracefully before plunging headfirst into the powder. This dramatic leap, a signature move known as mousing, is a blend of instinct, calculation, and athleticism. Each attempt is a lesson in precision. The fox must judge the depth of the snow, the distance to its target, and the speed of its prey, all in a split second. It repeats this process again and again, refining its technique with every leap. More often than not, the fox comes up empty. The snow is deep, the prey elusive, and the margin for error is razor-thin. Each miss is met with a brief pause, a shake of the head, and a reassessment of the next move. Emerging from the snow, the fox's face is dusted with white, a silent testament to the difficulty of its task. Yet there is no frustration, only the quiet determination that defines survival in this harsh environment. With a practiced shake, the fox rides itself of snow and resumes its vigil. It moves with deliberate care, scanning the landscape, listening and waiting for the next opportunity. Each hunt is a cycle of patience, action, and adaptation. Hunger is a constant companion. The fox's lean frame and alert posture reveal the stakes of this daily struggle. Every failed attempt is a reminder of the energy expended and the urgency to succeed before nightfall brings even colder temperatures. Its eyes, sharp and unwavering, scan the horizon. The fox is always alert, always calculating. It paces the snowy field, searching for any sign, a faint track, a subtle indentation, a whisper of movement beneath the surface. When one area yields nothing, the fox shifts its strategy. It pauses, reassesses, and changes direction, demonstrating a flexible intelligence that is key to its survival. Each decision is informed by experience and the subtle cues of its environment. The fox's world is one of constant observation. It watches the wind, the shifting shadows, and the patterns of snowfall. Every sense is attuned to the rhythms of the wild, allowing it to anticipate the movements of its hidden prey. Stealth is another weapon in the fox's arsenal. It moves low to the ground, each step carefully placed, to avoid alerting its quarry. The fox's reddish coat stands out against the snow, but its movements are so measured that it becomes a ghost in the landscape. Sometimes the best strategy is to wait. The fox sits quietly, conserving energy, its gaze fixed on a promising patch of snow. In these moments, patience is as valuable as speed or strength. The fox's intelligence is evident in its ability to adapt. It learns from each failed attempt, adjusting its approach, refining its technique, and never repeating the same mistake twice. This adaptability is the hallmark of a true survivor. At last, persistence is rewarded. With a final, perfectly timed leap, the fox breaks through the snow and emerges with a vole clamped in its jaws. The victory is small, but in the world of the Yellowstone winter, every meal is hard-won and precious. The fox quickly devours its catch, wasting nothing. Every calorie counts, fueling the next hunt and the long, cold nights ahead. After feeding, the fox takes a moment to groom itself, licking its fur clean and shaking off the snow. Even in these brief respites, it remains alert, ever watchful for new opportunities or threats. The environment is always changing. Snowdrifts shift, ice forms and melts, and the fox must constantly adapt its strategies to survive. Its ability to read the landscape and respond to subtle changes is a testament to its intelligence and resilience. Each day is a new challenge, demanding a blend of instinct, learned behavior, and creative problem-solving. The fox's life is a delicate balance between risk and reward, patience and action. In the frozen wilds of Yellowstone, the red fox is a master strategist, resourceful, persistent, and endlessly adaptable. Its survival is a testament to the power of intelligence and the relentless drive to endure, no matter how harsh the world becomes. High in the uppermost reaches of an ancient pine, where the morning mist clings to rough bark and the wind whispers through needle-laden branches, a new chapter in the wild begins to unfold. In a sprawling, haphazard nest woven from sticks and lined with the down of prey, two great horned owl chicks have spent their earliest weeks shielded from the elements by the dense canopy above and the vigilant presence of their parents. Their bodies, still cloaked in a layer of soft, insulating down, twitch with anticipation. They preen and stretch, testing the growing strength of their wings, each movement a rehearsal for the momentous act of fledging. Already, one sibling has braved the unknown, descending from the lofty nest to the shadowed forest floor below, a world of tangled roots, fallen needles, and the ever-present scent of earth and pine. The remaining chick lingers at the rim, talons gripping the rough edge, golden eyes wide with uncertainty. The air is thick with the tension of indecision, the forest below both a promise and a threat. Nearby, the adult owls perch in silent vigil, their plumage blending seamlessly with the bark. They offer no comfort, only the stern encouragement of their presence, understanding that survival demands independence. The adults no longer deliver food to the nest. Instead, they call from nearby branches, their voices echoing through the timber, talons clutching fresh prey, an unspoken challenge to the hesitant chick. Hunger sharpens the chick's resolve. The scent of mouse fur and the sight of a parent's offering just out of reach become irresistible, a primal lure that tugs at instinct and will. Day after day, the young owl edges closer, wings unfurling in awkward bursts. Each tentative flap stirs the air, sending a flurry of down drifting into the abyss below, but the leap remains unmade. As the days stretch on, the chick grows lean and restless. The nest, once a sanctuary, becomes a prison. Instinct and necessity wage a silent battle within its breast. At last, driven by the ache of hunger and the call of the wild, the chick shuffles to the edge. With a final, trembling breath, it spreads its wings wide, feathers catching the golden light, and surrenders to gravity. The descent is chaotic, a flurry of wings and flailing talons. Branches whip past, some breaking the fall, others snagging feathers as the young owl navigates the gauntlet of limbs. At last the chick lands among the ferns and moss, heart-pounding, chest heaving. The forest floor is cool and damp, alive with the subtle movements of insects and the distant calls of other birds. Now a fledgling, the owl stands unsteadily, eyes adjusting to the new perspective. Every sound is magnified, every shadow a potential threat or opportunity. The adults remain close, delivering food to the ground and demonstrating the art of climbing, as the fledgling learns to scale trunks and strengthen its wings for the flights to come. Each day brings new challenges, balancing on swaying branches, leaping from log to log, and honing the predatory gaze that will one day pierce the darkness. In time, the fledgling's wings will broaden and strengthen, spanning nearly 1.5 meters. Silent flight will become second nature, and the owl will claim its place as a master of the nocturnal hunt. This first harrowing leap is more than a test of courage. It is a rite of passage, a transformation from vulnerable nestling to independent hunter, shaped by the relentless demands of the wild. Beneath the vast, star-strewn sky of Yellowstone, the fledgling owl steps into the ancient cycle of survival. Each night it will learn, adapt, and grow, guided only by instinct, the moon, and the silent wisdom of the forest. As the first golden rays of summer dawn stretch across Yellowstone, the rivers and streams awaken to a transformation that is both ancient and essential. The air above the water shimmers with anticipation, as if the landscape itself is holding its breath for what is about to unfold. Billions of aquatic insects, salmonflies, mayflies, and countless others, erupt from the water in a synchronized ballet. Their emergence is a marvel of timing, each species responding to subtle cues in water temperature and daylight, ensuring their brief adult lives overlap in a fleeting, swirling spectacle. For months, these insects have lived as nymphs, clinging to the undersides of river stones, feeding on algae and organic debris. Through the icy grip of winter, they have grown in the shadows, their bodies armored against the relentless current and the ever-present threat of predation. Now, compelled by an internal rhythm honed over millennia, they ascend to the surface. There, in a matter of moments, they split their nymphal skins and unfurl delicate wings, transforming from aquatic to aerial beings. Their first trembling flight is both a triumph and a risk, as they become vulnerable to the hungry eyes that watch from above and below. This mass emergence is more than a spectacle. It is the heartbeat of the river's food web. Native cutthroat trout, sensing the vibrations of the hatch, gather in anticipation beneath the surface, their bodies tense and ready. These iconic fish are themselves on a journey, battling swift currents and leaping over obstacles as they migrate upstream to their ancestral spawning grounds. The timing of their migration is a delicate dance, synchronized with the promise of abundant food. The insect eruption provides a vital feast. Trout rise with explosive bursts, their jaws snapping at the surface as they gorge on the protein-rich insects. Each mouthful is precious fuel, powering them through the final, most grueling leg of their journey. The river's surface becomes a stage for a frenzied drama. Trout launch themselves skyward, snatching clumsy, newly winged insects mid-flight. The water churns with their energy, a living cauldron of movement and opportunity. Yet, this intricate timing is increasingly at risk. The balance that has governed these cycles for generations is now threatened by subtle shifts in the environment. This year, an unusually rapid snowmelt and unseasonably warm spring have altered the river's pulse. The water warms earlier, sending mixed signals to the creatures that depend on its cues. Some cutthroat trout, responding to the early warmth, begin their migration weeks ahead of schedule. Their instincts, once perfectly attuned to the river's rhythms, now lead them into uncertainty. This subtle shift in timing can have profound consequences. Arriving too soon, the trout may find the river eerily quiet, the expected clouds of insects not yet materialized. Without the bounty of the hatch, trout must search desperately for food, expending precious energy reserves. Their ability to spawn, and even to survive the journey, hangs in the balance. The effects ripple outward, touching every corner of the ecosystem. The river is a lifeline, its cycles supporting a web of creatures, each dependent on the others in ways both obvious and hidden. At least 23 predator species, each with their own strategies and needs, rely on the annual trout migration. The riverbank becomes a gathering place for eagles, otters, and bears, all drawn by the promise of nourishment. Ospreys, having journeyed thousands of miles from distant wintering grounds, time their arrival to the pulse of the river. Their sharp eyes scan the water for the flash of silver, their talons poised for the strike. River otters, sleek and agile, depend on the trout to feed their growing pups. Their playful dives mask the seriousness of their hunt, each catch a victory for the next generation. Even the mighty grizzly bear, ruler of the riverbank, is drawn to the shallows, its massive paws swiping at the darting fish. For the bear, each trout is a vital source of fat and protein, crucial for survival in the wild heart of Yellowstone. If the ancient synchrony between insects and trout falters, the consequences cascade through the food web. Predators may go hungry, prey populations may dwindle, and the delicate balance that sustains this vibrant wilderness could be lost. In Yellowstone, every life is woven into the next, each moment of abundance or scarcity echoing through the wild, interconnected tapestry of the land. High above the river valleys, where the air thins and the wind scours the land, lies Yellowstone's alpine zone, a realm of jagged rocks, sparse vegetation, and relentless elements. Here, in this stark and beautiful wilderness, one of the park's smallest mammals ekes out a living almost invisible to the untrained eye. The pika, a diminutive cousin of the rabbit, is perfectly adapted to this harsh world. With its compact, rounded body and dense fur that insulates even the soles of its feet, the pika is built for survival in a place where winter lingers for most of the year. Its fur muffles the cold, and its small, rounded ears minimize heat loss. The pika's high-pitched, bleating call echoes among the rocks, a territorial warning and a signal to others of its kind, carried on the crisp mountain air. In this environment, winter is not a season, but a dominant force, stretching for 8 or 9 months. Yet, unlike many alpine creatures, the pika does not hibernate. Instead, it remains active beneath the snow, relying on its own ingenuity to endure the long, frozen months. As soon as the snow recedes and the first green shoots appear, the pika's race against time begins. Every moment of the brief summer is precious. The meadows burst into color, and the pika wastes no time, darting from plant to plant, harvesting a diverse array of wildflowers, grasses, and sedges. With astonishing speed and determination, it gathers mouthfuls of vegetation, carefully selecting plants not just for their abundance, but for their nutritional value and ability to dry well for storage. From the first light of dawn until the last rays of sun slip behind the peaks, the pika is in constant motion. It navigates the labyrinth of rocks and meadows, always alert for predators, always focused on its task. The talus slopes, unstable jumbles of broken rock, are both home and highway. The pika scurries across these treacherous surfaces, balancing bundles of plants in its mouth, weaving through crevices and over boulders with practiced agility. Each load is carried back to a hidden den deep within the rocks. Here the pika constructs haystacks, carefully arranged piles of drying vegetation, protected from the elements and concealed from would-be thieves. These haystacks are more than mere food stores. They are the pika's lifeline. Each plant is chosen for its ability to retain nutrients through the long winter, and the arrangement of the stacks allows for optimal drying and preservation. The pika's physiology is a marvel of adaptation. Its thick fur and compact build conserve heat, allowing it to withstand the bitter cold that sweeps across the alpine zone. In winter, the pika retreats into its rocky shelter, insulated by snow and stone, drawing on its carefully curated stores to survive when the world outside is silent and still. But these same adaptations come at a cost. The pika is exquisitely sensitive to heat. Even a brief exposure to high temperatures can be fatal, forcing it to limit its foraging to the cooler hours and seek refuge in the shade of rocks during the heat of the day. When the sun climbs high, the pika vanishes into the cool darkness of its rocky home, emerging only when the air cools and the risk of overheating subsides. This delicate balance makes the pika a sentinel of the alpine world. As global temperatures rise and snowpacks shrink, the pika's habitat contracts, and its future becomes increasingly uncertain. As the days shorten and the meadows turn gold and crimson, the pika's urgency intensifies. Every trip becomes a race against the encroaching cold, every mouthful of food a vital investment in the months ahead. The haystacks swell, growing into impressive mounds that stand as monuments to a season's relentless labor and meticulous planning. Each pika works alone, its survival dependent on the quantity and quality of its stores. There is no sharing, no communal effort, only the solitary determination of a creature shaped by the demands of its environment. Through tireless foraging, careful selection, and unwavering focus, the pika transforms the fleeting abundance of summer into a lifeline that will sustain it through the long, silent winter. In the quiet heights of Yellowstone, the pika's story unfolds, a testament to resilience, ingenuity, and the enduring power of life in even the most unforgiving places. At the height of summer, Yellowstone's meadows unfurl into a living mosaic, an explosion of color and fragrance as wildflowers reach their zenith. The air shimmers with the hum of life, each bloom a beacon in a vast sunlit expanse. Among the petals, the calliope hummingbird appears, a jewel of iridescent green and magenta, its wings a blur as it hovers with pinpoint precision. Drawn by the promise of nectar, it darts from blossom to blossom, its movements both delicate and urgent. This tiny traveler, weighing less than a nickel, has journeyed thousands of miles from the temperate forests of Mexico. Its arrival is perfectly timed with the wildflower bloom, a feat of instinct and endurance honed over countless generations. The calliope is soon joined by the rufous hummingbird, its coppery feathers flashing in the sunlight. Fiercely territorial, the rufous weaves through the meadow, sometimes clashing with rivals in mid-air, each defending its patch of nectar-rich flowers. Both species are here for a singular purpose, to refuel on the abundant nectar and to nurture the next generation. Hidden among the grasses, nests cradle impossibly small chicks, their survival dependent on the tireless foraging of their parents. Hovering before each bloom, the hummingbird's wings beat up to 80 times per second, their hearts racing to sustain the energy needed for such acrobatics. Every sip of nectar is a lifeline, fueling their relentless activity. With astonishing precision, their slender tongues extend deep into the floral tubes, extracting the sugary liquid hidden within. Each visit not only nourishes the bird but also dusts its head with pollen, forging a vital link in the cycle of plant reproduction. The meadows are alive with more than hummingbirds. Swarms of butterflies, painted ladies, monarchs and swallowtails flutter above the blossoms, their wings catching the sunlight in flashes of orange, blue and gold. Each butterfly, with its delicate proboscis, probes the flowers for nectar, while inadvertently transferring pollen from one bloom to the next. Their presence adds a layer of movement and color, a silent ballet above the swaying grasses. For these insects, the wildflowers are both pantry and nursery. Eggs are carefully laid on select leaves, ensuring that when the caterpillars emerge, they have immediate access to food. Bees join the throng, their bodies dusted with pollen, as they move methodically from flower to flower. This intricate web of pollinators and plants forms the backbone of Yellowstone's summer ecosystem, each interaction a thread in the tapestry of life. The wildflowers, in turn, anchor the soil, prevent erosion, and provide food for countless other creatures. Their roots knit the earth together, supporting a hidden world beneath the surface. Yet, this delicate balance is under threat. Prolonged heat waves and erratic rainfall patterns are beginning to take their toll, with some meadows showing signs of stress as flowers wilt prematurely under the relentless sun. The ground cracks and dries, and once lush fields become patchworks of healthy and withered plants. The abundance that once greeted the pollinators is now unpredictable, forcing them to search farther and work harder. Some species, unable to cope with the changing conditions, produce fewer and smaller blooms. The nectar supply dwindles, and the intricate timing between flower and pollinator begins to unravel. Hummingbirds and butterflies, having traveled immense distances, now find themselves in a landscape where every calorie must be earned. Their search for sustenance grows more desperate as the flowers become scarce. The reduction in available nectar means longer flights between blooms, more energy expended, and less time for nesting or caring for young. The cost of survival rises with every empty flower. Exhaustion becomes a constant companion. Hummingbirds pause to catch their breath. Butterflies rest on faded petals, both vulnerable to predators and the elements as they recover. The fate of these pollinators is inseparable from the health of the meadows. Each successful feeding, each act of pollination, is a small victory in a season of mounting challenges. When pollinators falter, the consequences ripple outward. Fewer flowers are fertilized, leading to a diminished seed crop and fewer berries for the animals that depend on them. Pikas gather what seeds they can, while grizzly bears roam the berry patches, their foraging shaped by the abundance or scarcity left behind by the summer's pollinators. The sight of a hummingbird sipping from the last remaining flower is a poignant symbol. A single life persisting against the odds, echoing the broader struggle unfolding across Yellowstone. Every root, every wingbeat, every bloom is part of a vast interconnected web. The health of one is bound to the fate of all, each species a vital thread in the fabric of the ecosystem. Even the smallest changes, an early wilt, a missing pollinator, can set off a cascade of effects, altering the rhythm of life for creatures great and small. From the mighty bison grazing in the distance to the tiniest hummingbird hovering at a single bloom, the survival of every creature in Yellowstone is inextricably linked, each one shaped by the ever-changing dance of nectar and new challenges. As summer wanes and the meadows begin to fade, another story unfolds high among Yellowstone's rugged peaks and shadowed forests. A tale rarely witnessed belonging to one of the park's most elusive residents, the Wolverine. In the cool hush before dawn, a solitary figure moves through the scattered boulders and wind-scoured slopes. The Wolverine, stocky, low-slung and powerfully built, travels with a relentless purpose. Its dark fur, frosted with silvery guard hairs, blends seamlessly with the dappled terrain, rendering it almost invisible against the rocks and lingering snowfields. Each step is measured, every movement etched with a quiet confidence born of survival in an unforgiving world. Wolverines are wanderers by nature. Their territories stretch for miles, encompassing dense forests, alpine tundra, and icy ravines. They are creatures of solitude, driven by an insatiable appetite and an uncanny ability to vanish into the wilderness. With senses finely tuned to the subtlest scents and sounds, the Wolverine investigates every hollow and crevice, searching for the faintest trace of prey. A sudden gust carries the scent of carrion, a distant elk carcass, half buried under a tangle of brush. The Wolverine's nose twitches, and it sets off at a determined lope, claws digging into the soft earth. Unlike other predators, Wolverines rarely pursue living prey unless opportunity demands. Instead, they are masters of scavenging, capable of locating remains hidden beneath feet of snow or ice. Their jaws are strong enough to crush bone, and their teeth make quick work of frozen flesh. No meal, however meager, is wasted. Yet when the chance arises, the Wolverine's hunting prowess is formidable. It stalks snowshoe hares and ground squirrels with silent patience, launching a swift and decisive attack when the moment is right. In winter, it may ambush weakened deer or follow the trails of wolves, snatching leftovers from abandoned kills. Nothing escapes its notice. Nothing goes unused. The Wolverine's domain is shaped as much by scarcity as by abundance. It caches surplus food beneath logs or in cool crevices, returning days or even weeks later when hunger calls. These hidden stores are lifelines during lean times, a testament to the animal's cunning and foresight. Encounters with other carnivores are rare but charged with tension. A lone wolf crossing the Wolverine's path may be met with a bristling display of ferocity, the small predator undaunted by size or numbers. Even grizzly bears respect the Wolverine's tenacity, often yielding a carcass rather than risk injury in a confrontation. Every aspect of the Wolverine's life is a negotiation with the wild. It moves in silence, leaves few traces, and is seen only by those willing to wait and watch. Its presence is revealed in claw marks on tree trunks, tufts of fur snagged on branches, and the ghostly prints left in fresh snow. As the seasons turn and the world grows quiet, the Wolverine persists, an enigma at the heart of Yellowstone's wilderness. Its story is written not in grand displays, but in the subtle art of survival. A life lived in the shadows, woven into the fabric of the land itself. Beneath the glassy surfaces of Yellowstone's rivers and lakes, where sunlight dances on ribbons of current, unfolds a world as dramatic and unforgiving as any mountain peak or forested glen. Here, in the cool, oxygen-rich waters, the native cutthroat trout begins its ancient cycle, an odyssey shaped by instinct, adaptation, and perpetual risk. The story starts in spring, as melting snow swells the streams and the water's call becomes irresistible. Mature cutthroat trout, their bellies tinged with vibrant orange and red, gather at the mouths of tributaries. Driven by the urge to spawn, they push upstream, navigating rapids, squeezing through narrow riffles, and leaping over obstacles with bursts of silvery energy. Every journey is fraught with danger. In shallow runs, lurking beneath sunken logs and undercut banks, northern river otters and stealthy mink await. Above, the shadow of an osprey flickers, keen eyes fixed on the shimmering forms below. The trout press on, seeking gravel beds washed clean by the current. Here, females carve shallow depressions with powerful beats of their tails, while males vie for position with sudden darting displays. As dusk settles, eggs are laid and fertilized in the cool substrate. Thousands of translucent orbs hidden among the stones, left to the mercy of the river. The days that follow are perilous. Many eggs are swept away or consumed by hungry sculpin and opportunistic aquatic insects. Those that remain hatch into tiny alevins, still nourished by their yolk sacs and vulnerable to every ripple and shadow. As they grow, the young trout, now called fry, emerge from the gravel, darting into shallow margins, seeking shelter among pebbles and tangled roots. Life here is a constant test. The fry must evade predatory dragonfly larvae, water beetles, and larger trout, sometimes even their own kind. Only the swiftest, most cautious survive, learning to read the shifting light and the subtle tremors of the stream. As they grow, their patterns darken into a mosaic of olive and gold, each spot a mark of survival. By summer's height, the strongest juveniles venture into deeper pools where the river's current slows and food is plentiful. Here they hunt drifting insects, rising with calculated precision to snatch mayflies, caddis, and stoneflies from the surface. But the river is never without threat. River otters patrol the banks, while mergansers and kingfishers dive with deadly accuracy. Even the cover of darkness offers little reprieve, as brown trout, introduced rivals, emerge to compete for food and territory. Seasons turn. Some cutthroat remain in their natal streams, adapting to the ever-changing flow, while others migrate to the vast, cold depths of Yellowstone Lake. There, in the underwater twilight, they form loose schools, feeding on crustaceans and smaller fish, always wary of the lurking lake trout, a formidable predator whose presence has forever altered the balance of these waters. Yet the cutthroat endure. Their lives are a symphony of adaptation, a delicate dance between predator and prey, feast and famine, concealment and boldness. Each generation is shaped by the relentless demands of the river, by the silent battles fought beneath the surface, and by the unyielding will to survive. In Yellowstone's underwater realm, the cutthroat trout remains both a symbol and a survivor, its journey written in the shifting currents, its legacy carried on in every scale that flashes in the sunlit shallows. High above the forests and river valleys, where the wind sculpts ancient pines and the land opens to endless sky, another drama unfolds, one governed not by brute strength or stealth, but by intellect. Here, the ravens rule. With glossy black wings that catch the morning light, Yellowstone's ravens are more than mere scavengers. They are architects of opportunity, wielding a cunning unmatched in the animal kingdom. Their calls echo across meadows and cliffs, deep croaks, sharp clicks, and a language as complex as the shifting weather. Each note carries meaning, warnings of danger, invitations to feast, or subtle signals only understood by the closest allies. Ravens form intricate social bonds, gathering in loose flocks or splitting into pairs that last for seasons, sometimes for life. Within these groups, alliances are forged and rivalries simmer. Youngsters learn by observing their elders how to open a carcass frozen by winter's grip, how to cache food beneath snow or stones, and how to outwit would-be thieves. Their memories are long. A raven remembers not only where it hid its prize, but who watched it do so, returning in secret or enlisting a mate to stand guard. Communication extends beyond their own kind. In the silent hush of dawn, a raven may shadow a wolf pack, its sharp eyes tracking every movement. When the hunt ends, the birds descend, their calls alerting others to the promise of a meal. Sometimes ravens will tease coyotes or foxes, leading them to hidden prey, then darting in to snatch morsels from under their noses. These partnerships, born of necessity, are woven into Yellowstone's fabric, a testament to the raven's adaptability and wit. Yet, intelligence is not without its costs. Disputes over food or territory spark aerial duels, acrobatic displays of speed, skill, and bravado. In the quiet of the forest, a lone raven may puzzle over a locked seed pod or frozen insect, turning it probing, learning with every attempt. Success is shared in low, gurgling calls, the knowledge passed along a chain of kin and companions. As the sun sets behind distant peaks, the ravens gather once more, silent shadows against the fading sky. Their stories, written not in tracks or scars, but in memory and song, echo through the high country. In Yellowstone, to be a raven is to be a thinker, a strategist, and above all, a survivor, in a world where wit is as vital as wing. Beneath the towering pines and sweeping meadows, a quieter world stirs with the slow pulse of spring. Here, in the cool shadows and along the margins of melting snowbanks, Yellowstone's amphibians embark on migrations so secretive, few ever witness their passage. As winter's grip recedes, the first raindrops and thawed streams awaken salamanders and frogs from their subterranean slumber. Tiger salamanders, their dappled bodies still chilled by Earth's embrace, emerge from burrows carved deep below the frost line. Western toads and chorus frogs, silent for months, begin to stir, drawn by ancient instinct toward the ephemeral pools that appear with the season's first melt. Their journeys are measured in meters, not miles, but fraught with peril at every step. Tiny bodies glide through tangled grasses and over slick stones, guided by the faint scent of water and the memory of breeding grounds visited in years past. The night offers cover, but also danger. Garter snakes slip through moss and sedge, alert for the tremor of webbed feet. In the shallows, predatory beetles and hungry trout wait, their patience rewarded by the first arrivals. The amphibians' destination is as fleeting as their passage vernal pools, soon to evaporate in the coming sun. Here in cold, silent waters, males call with quiet urgency, trills and croaks that ripple across the surface, summoning mates to join the ancient rite. Egg masses are anchored to submerged stems, gelatinous and glistening, each a promise of new life. Yet even in these hidden places, challenges persist. A late frost may freeze shallow pools, trapping larvae before they can grow legs and lungs. Drought can shrink the waters, stranding thousands in shrinking puddles. For those that survive, transformation is swift and perilous, a race against time as tails are absorbed, lungs awaken, and tiny legs propel them from water to land. As summer advances, the pools vanish. Young amphibians disperse into the undergrowth, vanishing among mosses, stones, and logs. Their journeys, invisible to most, continue in silence, feeding, hiding, growing strong for the next migration. In Yellowstone, the amphibians' secret travels are as vital as the thunder of bison herds or the flight of eagles. Their migrations link water and land, predator and prey, season and survival. Each step, each leap is a testament to resilience, an ancient rhythm pulsing beneath the wild heart of Yellowstone. Beneath Yellowstone's lush meadows and tangled willow thickets, a world exists that seldom meets the light. Here, beneath the padding of elk hooves and the sweeping shadow of hawks, small mammals, voles, shrews, and their kin lead lives of quiet intensity woven into the very fabric of the ecosystem. The meadow vole, scarcely larger than a pine cone, is the architect of this hidden realm. With teeth honed by constant chewing, voles carve intricate tunnels through grasses and roots, creating a labyrinth just below the surface. These runways serve as highways, pantries, and escape routes, crucial infrastructure for a life where every second counts. The dense grass above offers cover from sharp-eyed predators, but the ground below is a bustling metropolis. Here, voles forage ceaselessly, gathering seeds, stems, and roots, storing caches for the lean times ahead. Among them moves the masked shrew, a creature of perpetual motion. Barely a whisper on the forest floor, shrews burn energy at a furious pace, compelled by a metabolism so rapid that minutes without food can mean death. Their pointed snouts probe leaf litter and moss, seeking insects, spiders, and worms. With venomous saliva, some shrews subdue prey much larger than themselves, a rare adaptation in the mammal world. Every day is a test of survival. Gopher, snakes, and weasels slip into tunnels hunting by scent and sound. Above, the silent glide of an owl means instant peril. Even the changing weather brings risk. Summer drought shrinks green havens, while winter's snows collapse the tunnels, forcing these tiny mammals to burrow deeper or risk exposure. Yet their struggles are not in vain. Voles and shrews are keystones in Yellowstone's web of life. Their constant grazing shapes plant communities, influencing which grasses thrive and which are grazed to the root. As prey, they sustain raptors, foxes, and mustelids, each life a vital thread in the tapestry of predator and prey. Even their deaths hold purpose. The tunnels left behind by generations of voles aerate the soil, channeling water and nutrients to the roots above. Shrew droppings fertilize the earth, feeding the next flush of growth. In this way, the smallest mammals help sustain the vastness of Yellowstone. Unseen but indispensable, the daily dramas of voles and shrews remind us that the park's greatest stories are often written in miniature, beneath the grass, beneath our notice, yet essential to the wild heart of Yellowstone. High above Yellowstone's sweeping valleys and rugged ridges, a silent drama unfolds on currents of wind and instinct. Here, the park's raptors, hawks, eagles, and falcons rule the air, each adapted for a unique form of pursuit. A red-tailed hawk hovers, wings trembling as it reads the restless grasses below. With eyes 8 times sharper than a human's, it can spot the faintest quiver of a vole beneath the meadow's green tapestry. The hawk waits, patience measured in heartbeats, then plunges. Its talons strike with surgical precision, piercing the earth and pinning its prey. The kill is swift, the struggle brief, a testament to millions of years of predatory evolution. Elsewhere, a golden eagle scans the open slopes, where young marmots sun themselves atop lichen-covered rocks. The eagle's approach is measured, a masterclass in stealth. Folding its massive wings, it stoops, plummeting at speeds that blur the line between bird and bullet. The marmot barely has time to squeal before the eagle's shadow engulfs it, talons closing around fur and bone. The eagle's reward is not only a meal, but survival through Yellowstone's leaner months. Not all raptors rely on brute force. The northern harrier glides low over marshy fields, its facial disc funneling sound to keen ears. It listens as much as it sees, hunting by both sight and the faint rustle of a field mouse. With a sudden tilt of its wings, the harrier drops, vanishing into the reeds, emerging moments later with its prize clutched tight. On the cliffs, the peregrine falcon rules the vertical world. It hunts on the wing, folding into a living arrow to chase fleeing songbirds. The falcon's dive is the fastest in the animal kingdom, over 200 miles per hour. In a flash of feathers and a sharp talon strike, the chase ends mid-air. The falcon's agility is rivaled only by its precision. For every raptor, the hunt is a test, a balance between hunger and hardship, skill and opportunity. Prey animals are not without defense. Voles vanish into labyrinths of grass, marmots whistle alarms and dash for their burrows, and flocks of songbirds wheel in dazzling, evasive clouds. Yet the raptors persist, shaped by Yellowstone's wildness. The wind, the weather, the shifting abundance of prey, all dictate their success. Each kill is a hard-won victory, each failure a lesson written on the wind. In their silent pursuit, Yellowstone's raptors embody the park's relentless cycle of survival, where every flight, every shadow, every heartbeat is a story of life and death, played out beneath the limitless sky. Across Yellowstone, time is measured not by the ticking of clocks, but by the slow, inexorable turning of the seasons. Each shift in temperature, every subtle change in light, sets in motion a cascade of transformations. Summer's lush abundance fades, replaced by autumn's golden hush. Aspen leaves tremble in the cooling breeze, their color deepening to a final brilliant flare before falling. The air sharpens, scents of earth and frost mingling as animals sense the coming challenge. For many, the first cold winds are a signal. Elk herds gather, moving from high meadows to sheltered valleys, their migration echoing ancient routes shaped by survival. Pronghorns, swiftest of Yellowstone's travelers, begin their own journey, crossing open plains and frozen rivers in search of wind-scoured ground where winter's snows lie shallow. Overhead, flocks of sandhill cranes wheel southward, their calls trailing like echoes of summer, while songbirds vanish almost overnight, bound for distant warmth. Others remain, adapting to the deepening cold. The bison's dense coat grows thicker, insulating against biting winds and snow. Wolves follow in their wake, their keen senses attuned to the shifting patterns of prey. Grizzly bears gorge on late berries and roots, urgency in every mouthful, before retreating to dens where the world narrows to darkness and the sound of their own breathing. Beneath the ice, cutthroat trout slow with the water's chill, conserving energy as they drift among submerged logs. Amphibians burrow deep, their bodies entering a suspended animation, heartbeats slowed to a whisper. Small mammals, voles, shrews, and pocket gophers create intricate tunnels below the snow, a hidden network where life continues, insulated from the worst of winter's wrath. As snow deepens, survival becomes a test of resourcefulness and resilience. Food grows scarce, every calorie must be earned. The lynx, its paws splayed for walking atop powdery drifts, stalks the snowshoe hare, whose white coat now blends seamlessly with the landscape. For the raven, intelligence is the key, following wolf packs for scraps, raiding caches, and remembering where food was hidden months before. Spring's arrival is neither sudden nor certain. It comes in fits and starts, a thawing stream. The first green shoots piercing crusted snow, the distant bugle of returning cranes. With the melting ice, amphibians emerge to breed in ephemeral pools, and bear cubs, blinking in the weak sunlight, take their first tentative steps outside the den. The cycle continues, each species shaped by the relentless, repeating rhythm of the land. In Yellowstone, survival is written in adaptation, a never-ending dance with the seasons, where every life is a story of change, endurance, and the quiet, unyielding will to persist.